My son's name is Julyan. He's actually 32 years old now. He was diagnosed at the age of 2. It's because he had no eye contact, he didn't want to socialize, he was hiding underneath the table. It's neurological disorder is how they termed it. Oh my God, all the disruptive behaviors are a lot. He got into breaking glasses, got into ripping his clothes, got into screaming, really like screaming in public places.
How do you see Julyan in 10 years or in 20 years?
I just want him to be happy. And I don't know how that's gonna happen because we have to leave this world first, right? Hindi ko na kaya. He's a gift for me and I have to do everything I can to protect him. And that's how I know I can, is to tell people that you have to have love and acceptance in your heart.
Hello and welcome to Awesome World. I'm Kay from Teacher K Talks. And since autism acceptance is something that we are continuously working on, this year we have a couple of families who want to share their stories. Hello, Ms. Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Harrison. I'm a social entrepreneur and my son's name is Julyan. He's actually 32 years old now. He was diagnosed at the age of 2. It's because he had no eye contact, he didn't want to socialize, he was hiding underneath the table. And my brother said, I think you have to have him checked. For me, I just thought that he was different. And at the time, you don't really know a lot about autism. So you just think he's delayed. I have no idea what autism was all about. It was such a new word for me. I had to go to libraries, I have to go to bookstores to find out what autism was all about. And at the time, there was no internet yet. So I had to research what autism is. When you give birth and the child is full physically, you just think that they're okay. Hindi pala.
Do you remember how they defined autism at that time? So if it was 32 years ago, it would have been
92.
92.
It's a neurological disorder is how they termed it, and it's a wide spectrum. So you have to have your child diagnosed as to where he is in the spectrum. So it's a very long process at the time, and there were very few doctors who can actually diagnose. And I remember we had to queue up for 6 months before we can see a doctor. So it was very vague for me, and I just have to keep digging what I can learn about this. Interestingly, we were not living in the Philippines at the time. We just moved to Switzerland, which is not exactly the right country to be diagnosed with autism because little was really known about autism then. So UCLA said, you can get in touch with a doctor. He just studied here and he went back to Norway. So they gave me his number and I had to call him up. His name is Dr. Sven Eikeseth. I can still remember it so well. And he said, oh, I can help you. I can go travel to Switzerland. So his requirement was we have to find therapists. And that's how we got started. Can you imagine? My son was 2 years old, okay? 2 years old. So we got 5 students, graduating students, 5. And we had to start with 8 hours of therapy. 8.
In a day, 8
in
hours?
In a day. So you're talking of 40 hours of therapy in a week. But we had to make it fun for him. We have, play time, we have table time, we have all sorts of things. But it was very, very rigid because we were told that we have to recover the child at an early age because you learn a lot about skills at an early age, and which we did. Unfortunately, We keep traveling because of my husband's job. He's in finance, that's why we were in Switzerland. We did it for about a year, and then we had to move to Singapore. And then the same process again. I had to write to National University of Singapore. We got in touch with Dr. Vera. I remember her name, Dr. Vera. Again, we had to find students again, all over again. It's a whole manual of what we have to do. We have different types of subjects. I mean, and we compiled all our resources. We stayed in Singapore for a total of 15 years. So we were doing home program, but at the same time, for socialization, he was also attending school. So we were doing, school then because he was already like 5, 6 years old, so he has to attend school. And then when he gets home, there you go with the therapies again. So we were doing that until he was 12. Until he was 12, he was doing a home program.
Would you remember what the most challenging behaviors were for your child?
Okay, the most challenging behavior, I remember it very well. My son did not have language. So when you don't have language, it's very difficult for him to be understood. It's very difficult for him to express what he wants. And the same way, it's also very difficult for us to figure out what he wants. So the most challenging really is, ano gusto mo? How can I help you? What do you want? And he kept looking at we can't really understand him. So even when he was having therapies, the fact that he cannot express his wants and needs, it's totally challenging. Until now, actually, it's still very difficult to understand what he wants. So we have to train ourselves to be a reader, does his eyes say something? Does his gesture say something? So as caregivers or family or, people around him who loves him, the most important skill is to be receptive. To be receptive as, what is he trying to do? What is he wanting? We have to be really sensitive because he will never be, that's for my son, he will never be able to explain, to really tell us what he truly wants.
You also mentioned some disruptive behaviors. Would you like to expound?
Oh my God, all the disruptive behaviors are a lot. He got into breaking glasses, got into ripping his clothes, got into screaming, really like screaming in public places. And of course, as parents, you just want to satisfy him, I'll give you anything, but what do you want? And he cannot. So, it stems from, breaking things. So the most disruptive behaviors for him was really breaking.
Let's talk about what a normal day looks like for Julyan now.
So a normal day for Julyan now is, he's a farmer because I think he also saw the pleasure of being surrounded by nature. Kahit nagbubunot lang ng damo, it's very therapeutic for him, especially watering the plants, and especially seeing the seeds, because he knows how to plant from seeds. Some seeds, he waters it, and then he observes that it grows. I think without him telling us, he can feel the joy and pleasure of farming, of taking care of something. I'm a social entrepreneur, meaning to say, because of Julyan, we put up a small resort to keep him productive and happy. So from there, he helps in the kitchen to prepare the food for our guests. So that's his day. But more importantly, when you have autism, you become obsessively excellent with your task. So when you say, clean the house, it's completely clean. When you say, sweep the farm, it's completely, spotless. And when you tell him to do something, it's so precise. So in that sense, it's a joy to work with him, to the point that, we have 3 boys. The 2 boys, he's the middle child, the eldest child, and the youngest child is like, it takes you 3 times to tell them what to do. But with Julyan, when you say, Julyan, it's time to shower, stand up, he's like a robot. it's because of those therapies that he's been doing. So, and he is also now a painter. But we had to expose him to painting materials. We had to expose him to nature. The nature are his theme, his inspiration. So to answer your question, he's so productive, he's so busy, he's a whole person. He will always have somebody with him, but he knows how to make himself useful and happy.
So, what else are your hopes for your child's future? Let's say, what about like, how do you see Julyan in 10 years or in 20 years?
As a mother, I just want him to be happy. Really, seriously happy. Just want to be happy. And I don't know how that's gonna happen because we have to leave this world first, right? So, at the moment, we're trying to make him as independent as possible because I don't want to obligate my children to look after him. And I tell my children, it's not their fault that they have a brother in the spectrum, so I don't want them to change their life plans for him. But I tell them that please visit him. So as much as possible, I'm putting up an environment that maybe he can be independent and be happy with support. Community support is very important. Hindi ko na kaya.
I'm also the wrongest person for this because ang babaw ng luha ko.
You're the best person.
Okay, so I guess that's a good segue. How do you think our government and maybe other private companies are doing with regard to supporting individuals with autism?
I believe the government has to step up with supporting the special needs community, especially with therapies, with supporting them with therapies. So if the government can step up with supporting families with education support, that would be great. And also training the teachers to look after differently abled children, because they will be able to guide the kids, of course, and then the families. There's no point that they learn at school if the families are not briefed as to what they are doing at school, so that there's continuity. And also to do something with the community, that they should give awareness that there are people like Julyan and others like Julyan who needs to be integrated and accepted in the society and the community. They also need to find a way for them to be employed, not necessarily in an office, but there are a lot of ways that they can be made productive. Even if, for example, you go to a company, you can say, can you please employ X number of percentage? They will if you ask them. But if government will legislate, then the better. Yeah.
What is something you wish more people knew or understood about autism?
I wish more people would understand that autism is a neurological disorder. It's not a disease. They're born like that. And because they're born like that, they need love. They need love. Love can actually mean acceptance. It can mean understanding. It can mean patience. It can mean giving your time. It can mean a lot of things. And if people would only understand that they also have a heart, they have a soul, that they need to be understood, cared, and loved. If people look at you in a different way, it's their problem. It's because they are not aware. So let them, and don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, because you know when you're embarrassed with your child, it's almost like saying, I reject you. And people and our children, they feel that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I also feel that a lot of times, but I have to switch my thinking that I have this child, he's a gift for me, and I have to do everything I can to protect him. And that's how I know I can, is to tell people that you have to have love and acceptance in your heart.
Great. Okay, so here are some other some other types of questions, like, what is your favorite characteristic or trait of Julyan's?
He's such a perfectionist. You know, he has tasks at home, and we ask him to lay the table because we have guests so perfectly. You know, perfect, you know. And when we give him tasks like that, I'm so happy. I have a very helpful child. Innately is very helpful because for autistic people, they love to help, they love to do tasks. I think not for everybody, but sometimes when you give them tasks, they will do it perfectly. And they will not stop until the task is done.
That is super great. Yeah. What is the most hurtful thing someone has ever said about you or your awesome child?
The most hurtful is you don't know how to discipline him. What has happened to him? Why is he, doing a meltdown in the supermarket or the mall? And sometimes you can't help but react. I don't mean to do that, but when you're judgmental as to what do you know what I'm going through, telling me that I cannot discipline my child. Yeah.
What is the most embarrassing or unforgettable moment you've had with your awesome child?
So many, but let's just say, pooing in his pants when he's already big, like he's not a child anymore. But sometimes maybe he can't say something, he doesn't know how to express it, and he decides to just do it in the car, So until now, it's so vivid in my memory. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten into a fight because of Julyan?
No, fortunately not yet. Yes.
If you were given awesome powers or superpowers as a parent, what would they be and why?
If I have power, I would make him like his two other siblings, independent, doing his own thing, will have a family, will be happy, and that's just my wish. It's for him because I think he can do so much if he's only able to express himself.
If you had the chance to time travel, would you still choose to be an awesome parent?
If I will have a choice, I think I have done my part to go through the challenges, but for Julyan, I would really want him to be able to talk, to be able to study. I think he would be wonderful. I give talks to undergraduates, and I tell them, if my son is okay, he will be there with you. Because in my heart, it would be so wonderful to see him really bloom. At the moment, he's very inspiring already. I think as much as we can, we have really pushed him to the limit. But given the opportunity, he can do more. Yeah.
So I think it's kind of 50-50 on this question.
50 for me and 50 for Julyan.
What sort of tips would you give parents who have just identified their children as being autistic, as someone who has 32 years of experience, such as yourself?
Yeah, so it's very depressing, honestly, to have that diagnosis. But the depression should not stay with you for a long time. You have to accept, and you can do something. And you can do something if you can be proactive. So get as much knowledge as you can about autism, about the level of your child. Get in touch with doctors, get in touch with professionals, get in touch with therapists, because the therapists actually play a large role in recovering your son, meaning to say making them more productive. So open your eyes. I know it is for those who just got diagnosed. I know it's very sad reality, but we have to fight. You cannot give up. This child is depending on you. So rally for him, be a champion for him, and discover what he wants. The most important thing for you is you have to be strong. For those who already are in the middle of the road, don't give up. And this is a lifetime. For me, Julyan is 32 and I still feel it. I still feel it, and until I die, it will be like that. But we have to continue. We have to carry on fighting for our children because they're worth it and because they can. And because this is our purpose. We are given children like them because we have a purpose in life. I would like to inform everybody that I have been asked so many times, how do I manage to go through looking after a child with autism? Because of this, we're coming up with a book for Mother's Day, which is going to be in May. So please watch out. We don't have a title yet, but we will keep you posted. My advocacy in life is to look after people, differently abled people, people with autism, autistic people. I will carry on championing for them for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories here, Miss Rachel, and we wish you luck in all of your further advocacies for Julyan and for other autistics in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor and privilege to share my story. I will not get tired sharing my story, so thank you for this opportunity.
This video is sponsored by Milo Speech Buddy.